Can you tell that I'm a lesbian? So, October 11th is National Coming Out Day. So, I thought that I would share with all of you my coming out story. So, here it is. So, I didn't actually really come out because I was never really in the closet. As soon as I figured out that I liked girls, everyone kind of knew, but I never really said it. For me, it wasn't important to tell people. I just went on living my life, and they kind of just figured it out. There's really only like one time where I kind of said it to any one specific person, and that was my mom. I was taking a shower one night, and I came out of the shower ready to go to bed, and I just went to my mom and said, "Oh, by the way, I like girls." And she just said, "Okay, I love you, good night." And then I went to bed, and that was it. I didn't really tell anyone else in my family because I didn't feel like I had to. Same thing at school. I just started liking girls, and that was that. And when I first, started dating girls, I considered myself to be like bi-curious basically because I wasn't sure about men yet. But then, high school's the time to experiment, so I did that whole thing, and then by the time I was in college, I knew for sure, yep, I'm a lesbian. So yeah, for me, I was never hiding it, I just didn't know it. The first time I figured out that I was not straight was, I think, when I was 15. Yeah, sophomore year, so 15, yeah. And I think it's really because of how heteronormative our society is that I didn't even conceive that I could be attracted to girls. And throughout middle school when like everyone else was into boys and stuff, and I was not, I didn't think I was into girls, but I wasn't into boys either. And I always just thought, oh, I'm just not attracted to people, period. And because I always assumed that if I was attracted to someone, it would be a boy. And then actually my freshman year of high school, there was this boy, he was like the head of the GSA, and he's like, "You're a lesbian." And I said, "No." But that's because I had never thought about that before. I never even thought that was an option. I always just thought, oh, I'm not, I'm gonna just not ever be attracted to anyone. And then when I was 15, my sophomore year, I had my first girl crush. And then the pain started. But yeah, so coming out for me, it wasn't a big deal telling other people, it was just figuring out myself. And it wasn't like I was trying to deny it to myself, I just had never even thought of it before. From the day I was born until that point where I thought about it and realized I had a girl crush, everyone has been saying like, oh, you grow up, you marry a man, it's in all the movies I was watching. I never watched like a gay movie when I was a kid. I didn't even know what Brokeback Mountain was when I was a kid. I couldn't even conceive that there was something other than straight because that's all that I had been shown my whole life. And then finally, my 15-year-old brain got the picture and said, oh, hey, that's not all that there is. So yeah, for me, it wasn't so much, it wasn't a big deal for me. I felt very comfortable with my family, felt very comfortable with my friends where I lived. I wasn't worried about, violence. I wasn't worried about backlash from anyone. And I just lived my life, and people you know, if people ask, I'll tell them, but I don't feel the need to, like, I never felt the need to tell my friends anything because I didn't think that they should just assume that I was straight, and, you know, they didn't. So that's that. Coming out, though, is important because we have, or at least for me growing up, I had no other people to look to. There was one gay guy that I knew of in my whole town before I came out. And, you know, there's more now, but I didn't really see that. And so being out is important because it's important, you know, for younger kids to understand. And maybe if I had people out in my town when I was, like, even in first grade, maybe I would have figured it out then, because thinking back on it now, there were definitely instances where I should have known from when I was a kid. But I just didn't because it wasn't something I thought about. So being visible is really important. So I encourage you to, if you're struggling to come out of the closet, you know, you're not alone. There are so many people in our community, whether you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, pansexual, demisexual, asexual, gender non-binary, agender. I'm missing some. Pansexual, did I say that already? I don't know. But whatever you are, whatever romantic or gender or sexual identity that you have, you know, there are people out there like you, and we just have to keep coming out and keep making ourselves more and more visible. And then eventually, you know, most people probably won't even have to come out anymore because we can get rid of the heteronormativity. So I encourage you to come out. But that being said, coming out is a very personal decision. You know, some people can't come out because they know that they'll probably be kicked out of their home, or that they might be harassed and there might be violence towards them. So, you know, if you're in that situation, just keep hanging on. Eventually, you will be in a point in your life where it will be safe and you can do it. So hold on for that day. And if you can come out but you're just nervous, you know, start with the person that you trust the most, and you can kind of gauge how a person's going to react to it when you come out. You know, so maybe you're more nervous to tell your parents, but, you know, your best friend would be fine with it. So then maybe start with telling your best friend, or maybe, you know, your dad is slightly more accepting than your mom. And you could start by telling him and then maybe have him help you tell your mom. Or maybe you're like me and you just don't feel the need to, like, say it out loud to anyone, and you just, like, live your life as it is. But anyway, I encourage you to come out, and remember though that you can do it in your own time, however you want, whenever you want. And maybe you decide that you're gonna come out on National Coming Out Day, or you're gonna come out a specific day, and then when it gets to the time you are still afraid to do it. That's okay. You know, take all the time that you need. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure everything's gonna be okay. But really, once you're out, you know, life is great. You're gonna face adversities. There's gonna be times when, you know, you might have to hide it based on where you're living, because people might not react well to it, and there are gonna be times, you know, when you are gonna face difficulties because of, you know, being different. But I promise you that it is so worth it to just live life as you are and be who you are, because there's no shame and there's no hiding anything, you know? And remember that there's always someone else that has gone through what you're going through or something similar, and there's such a big community, and there are resources out there to help you come out. There's the Human Rights Campaign website, there's PFLAG, there's a lot of resources on the internet to help you and, you know, put you in contact with people that have been there and done that. So, you know, the people are out there. There are people who have gone through what you're going through, and you're not alone. So I hope you have a happy coming out day. I hope that if you're ready, you come out. I hope if you're not, you keep hanging in there until you are, and have a wonderful day.